When a man opens his heart and truly connects with his emotional center, becomes emotionally available, that is enormously powerful and incredibly needed in today's world. And at the same time, many men lose themselves on that path. Not because there's something wrong with opening their heart or becoming emotionally available, but because at a deeper level, they're suppressing their masculine energy, or better to say, certain traits and parts of their masculine energy, such as boldness, such as decisiveness, such as discipline, structure, having an edge. These are incredibly important. They're vital parts of a man's true energy, or shall we say, true innate nature. And when these parts are suppressed and all the focus is on just opening the heart, becoming softer, then yes, he might become available, but he loses his spine in the process. And then paradoxically, the feminine doesn't feel attracted as much to him. She doesn't feel she can trust him. She doesn't feel safe with him. He doesn't feel his own power, and people start walking all over him. So let's dive deep into this in today's episode. This episode is for both men and women, as both are going to tremendously benefit from it. If you are listening and you're not yet subscribed, I invite you to take a moment now and subscribe on the app you use to listen. We put a great deal of care into each of these episodes, and we release them entirely for free. Subscribing is the only favor we ask in return. It allows us to reach more people, and it ensures you never miss the next episode. So wherever you are listening, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or watching on YouTube, or any other platform, I invite you to subscribe now. I am Lorin Kren, founder of the Core Method. I help people identify the true root of their challenges in relationships, purpose, and life, and shift it at the core. From elite leaders, couples in crisis, to women healing their connection and relationship with men, and coaches who want to elevate their coaching practice to the highest level. My work is about depth, truth, and lasting change. Something I always say to the men I work with or in my men's groups is that a truly powerful embodied man has this ability to embody both softness and at the same time an incredible level of fierceness. He brings softness and heart openness at home, a deep surrender, so his loved ones can really feel him. He's deeply available, and yet he shows up with a very strong spine in the world, standing in his truth and standing in his true power. If one of them is missing, it ultimately leads to an unconscious expression of masculine energy. And for decades, we have seen the extreme of boldness, decisiveness, the desire to lead and create and build, used in the name of ego and used in the name of greed. So as a whole, not just women, but also men have a wound or a very challenging relationship to these aspects of masculine energy. It makes sense, because if it caused so much pain, is still causing so much pain, maybe there shouldn't be any place for it. But there is place for it, however, in service to love, in service to a greater consciousness. Because then these traits become enormously powerful. They become protective of what is sacred, of the innocent. It's basically a 360-degree shift. It's not that something is wrong with masculine energy, it's the expression of it that has caused so much pain. So when men then drop into softness at the expense of their strength, at the expense of their spine and edge and fierceness, then ultimately they cannot be true protectors. They cannot fully show up in this world. And while better than just endless lust and greed, yes, 100%, it still doesn't lead to the world we want, we all need, or at least those who are dropped in want to see. And for the feminine, it still doesn't feel deeply trustworthy. So it's not shaming men, you're doing something wrong. It's you get to be whole. You don't have to kill or eradicate parts of who you are. You have to move them into greater service. Service for humanity, service to love, service to a greater consciousness, because that is exactly what we need on this planet right now. Men who are fucking in their power, they don't back down, they stand in truth, they fight if necessary, but their heart is deeply open. They're emotionally available. They can surrender as well. That's the power. And these two forces, they meet in the heart. Because in essence, when I say men lose themselves on the path of opening their heart, that isn't entirely true. It's the perception of what it means to open your heart. But to truly open your heart means actually you become incredibly strong as well. The heart is not just soft. The heart can be fierce as well. Same for women. Same for the wild feminine expression, right? So many men don't see true heart openness for what it really is. It means opening your heart to all of who you are, not just to parts of who you are as a man. And that is a whole different energy. And that energy is sometimes in previous episodes and in my content, I speak about that kind of journey where women find either the bad boy and they feel some form of charge, because even though the bad boy is completely unconscious, he embodies his primal energy. Or the kind of nice guy who abandoned his primal energy in the name of softness, kindness, and love, but deep down there is so much resentment. I did previous episodes about this exact topic. So it's really here where it all comes together. And that's what really awakened or conscious masculinity truly is. So when a man is on that journey of opening his heart, then often what happens is that unconsciously he starts seeing directness as perhaps aggression, leadership as control, boundaries or assertiveness as harsh. A man starts to absorb these signals and begins to overcorrect and constantly second guess himself. He becomes a very careful man, a very nice man who keeps hesitating, who is stuck in some form of passivity. And that kind of hesitation, that kind of being overly careful is not the true embodiment of masculine energy. Because it is ultimately, while better than just allowing greed and lust to lead, absolutely, it ultimately is still leading from fear, from lack, from insecurity. And specifically with the feminine, this shows up the most because women sense this loss of structure very quickly. Because attraction is not just built on emotional availability or emotional openness. It's that, but paired with groundedness, stability, and the capacity of holding direction. I mean, when has a man being direct, being bold, when has that ever been associated with something bad? But yet, in our psyche, in our unconscious, there is that connection. Because many, many men hesitate to be direct, to be bold, to be assertive. But when it comes from love, it is pure power, pure magnetism, pure attraction. Ultimately, all of this symbolizes a man who doesn't trust his center. He's not entirely sure about his core, about his essence, about his masculine energy, about who he is. And the world is a reflection of our internal world, so the world responds to that, not to punish him, simply to reveal. And no one better than the feminine. A man who is just in his heart, but without that sense of structure and spine and stability, will cause a loss of attraction with the feminine, a loss of safety and a loss of stability. A man who's only in structure, only in stability, but actually disconnected from his heart, will also cause a loss of trust and a loss of safety and attraction. It's the integration of both that is missing in this world. True masculine development is not about becoming softer or more open. It's about becoming truly integrated. A mature man can feel deeply and remain steady and hold direction. So we could say that many men on this path are doing the practice of dissolving masculinity. But really what it is about refining it or embodying the true essence of it. When a man is too careful, too hesitant, too anxious, then he is telling the world, I don't fully trust my center. I'm not yet fully rooted in who I truly am. And the world is going to respond to that. Embodying that level of fierceness and strength, the reason why many men fear it is because it might make others slightly uncomfortable and they try to rescue other people's feelings and emotions in those moments. Only being available, only love, only light feels so much more safe. But truly embodying your edge, embodying your spine, doesn't feel safe. It feels bold. It feels uncertain. Because you don't know how other people are going to react. But I can assure you, if you are rooted in your heart, if it's coming from a place of love and depth and truth, then people, the right people, are going to respond in the most beautiful ways, by trusting you more, by respecting you more. And you will sense this especially with the feminine. There is a completely different energy, a completely different sexual charge in the relationship when a man can embody that softness and love at home and that powerful fucking spine in the external world. And as you are listening to this, you can probably sense that this goes beyond words. It's a state of embodiment. It's a state of breathing. It's a state of being. And it all begins by accepting the fullness of who you are. It's powerful and good to be fully man, to be fully masculine in the service of love, in the service of protecting others. Then it becomes such a powerful energy. And this is harder than ever to embody, especially with what's happening in the world, creating, of course, more of a sense of that masculinity and masculine energy is bad. And yes, they are the most toxic expressions of it out there. But in truth, they have nothing to do with true masculinity. So men, my message to you is crystal clear. Don't hesitate. Don't be too careful. Be bold. Stand in your truth. Take a stance. Go for a direction. But don't do it heartless. Don't do it hurting others. Do it with love. Do it with all the love you can muster inside your heart. Because you can have both. You can be a powerful leader, a powerful warrior, going out in the world, creating, building, transforming, and create the deepest and most fulfilling relationships. And in truth, they go hand in hand, because that is our true nature as men. And most likely women, when you hear this, you can feel this. You sense this energy. And this energy is building, this energy is rising, and it's going to shift the collective. But there is still a journey for that shift. And that's fine. That's the journey we're on. Thank you for listening. If this episode resonated with you and you are not subscribed yet, I invite you to take a moment and subscribe now. It's an honor to be of service.